The world is full of amazing creatures, from the birds of the air to majestic hippos of our rivers. Wildlife abound in the most unusual and unexpected places. Nigeria is blessed with quite a number of them. However, a lot of them are becoming extinct due to so many factors.
If you look at the way we have been using our wildlife, we have been using it in such a way that is, if care is not taken, many of them will soon go on extinction. Elephant in particular, people are trading on the tusk of elephants. If you come to our own country here, the new animal that entered into that trade or something is a porcupine. People are trading on the scale of porcupine. They are exporting it to weird countries I don't know, in sacks. And whereas we know that you cannot get the scale without killing the porcupine. So how many porcupines have gone? How many porcupines people have killed? Because they want the scale. I learned that they are exporting it to China, I don't know.
The park management has been doing its best to effectively contain and possibly reduce this threat to the barest minimum through conservation education, law enforcement, and provision of intervention to support zone communities.
Trees and plants are also part of wildlife, some of which are also going into extinction.
And there's one particular tree, Pterocarpus erinaceus. Their spot is a hardwood. I also call it wadobia. It's a very good hardwood. People are now cutting it anyhow. Teak is another, teak, T-E-A-K, teak. Teak is another tree. It's a very good hardwood. People are now cutting it anyhow, and they are exporting it out of this country. So because of this one, we must call our attention to all this. Let us use these wildlife resources that nature has given to us in a sustainable way, so that our own generation will benefit from them, and we now allow the other generation too. We maintain their potential for the generation yet unborn. So
the rate at which timber exploitation is taking place in South Ovia local government of Edo State is alarming, and I'm crying out. If you are in Udo town, you will be counting numbers of lorry carrying timbers out. You'll be wondering. As you approach Benin, you see so many sawmill. Where are these timbers coming from? In the past, we used to see 3 for load of logs as a little bit. Now you see 10, 12, 15, 20. It's showing us something that timber exploitation is on alarming rate.
They are disturbing the natural habitat of the animals. Why? Because these trees are a source of habitat for other animals. Some build their nest on it, some get their seeds, some animals feed on their seeds. A lot of other things are carried out from and they even serve as windbreakers. So the tree is something that shouldn't be degraded. It's a source of poaching which it doesn't encourage or improve the fertility of the park, and even will later be a big problem for the whole country as a whole.
Nigeria is not resting on its oars. Concerted efforts are run to guard against species extinction.
Nigeria is on top of that situation, because there are agencies that are already on ground to track the extinction of our wildlife. The Federal Department of Forestry is one. The National Environmental Standard, NESRA, is another. And while the national park is also part of it. So, and when you look at agencies like NOSDRA, oil spill detection, and the rest of them, because when you spill oils, you are certainly going to lose some species. So this is why I said the Nigerian government is on top of this situation, having established this structure. Quite okay. The warning is a warning by international communities that if nothing is done, this is what will happen. But in our own case, we have done something, and we are doing it. Okay. So the fear of losing a lot of our endangered species might be minimal. Okay. But At the same time, we have to watch the increase in our population, because that is the basic factor that may lead to the rapid extinction of this species. While we watch the increase in our population, we should also encourage ex situ conservation. Ex situ conservation, because it is the right hand that washes the left hand. Ex situ conservation, these are animals keepers in zoos, zoological gardens, and the rest of them. Some of them might have these endangered species in captivity. When they do, the animals multiply. With time, they have a lot they can't cater for. We'll be able to collect some of these animals from there and return them back to the wild. Thank God, a lot of zoos are just coming up. One has just been inaugurated in Abeokuta, Ogun State. One has just been inaugurated in Katsina State. So, and other ones that are in existence, we are also encouraging them to strengthen the management so that we do not lose some of these endangered species. Then the government should also look at the issue of creating additional national parks. We have submitted a proposal to the Federal Ministry of Environment for the additional creation of 10 new national parks. One in Bayelsa or two in Bayelsa, one in Katsina, one in Niger, one in Kogi, one in Kwara, one in Nasarawa, one in Kano, and the other one I think in Kaduna State. So with this increase, the land area under forest cover will increase. And when you are able to protect the habitat of the animals, you are sure your animals will survive.
And well-equipped conservation education unit that regularly embark on conservation education and awareness campaigns to communities surrounding the park, to schools, and even to the general public. As I talk with you, we have about 105 school conservation clubs, within the support zone communities. We do that because we feel that it is important for these young ones to imbibe the culture of conservation at this tender age, so that as they grow, they will make informed decisions and take actions that will be eco-friendly. Even as policymakers, they will make policies and implement policies that will be friendly to the environment.
If you look at the schedule, the CITES law, the CITES Act, you have animals in Schedule 1, animals in Schedule 2, animals in Schedule 3. Schedule 1 are those animals that are at the brink of extinction. So care must be taken, otherwise they will go on extinction. Then Schedule 2 are those ones that where the population is still manageable, but care must be taken. So we can allow little harvest of those ones. Then Schedule 3, there are those animals that are, again, they are a bit more than those ones in Schedule 2, but again, care must be taken.
Indigenous animals are mostly those on the endangered species list.
Chimpanzee is one of the endangered species, and Gasaka still hold the largest population of chimpanzee in West Africa sub-region. So the Chester Zoo and University College London, they are now helping us to effectively protect that particular wildlife species, that's chimpanzee. Yeah, because people are trading on it illegally. They are exporting their baby chimps out of this country. But at times when you arrest them, they say, no, it's not from Nigeria, it's from other country. Why should we now allow Nigeria to be the expansive route? Why should we? So we are trying our possible best to make sure that we manage those wildlife resources that we have in our national park. But despite that one, we still have pockets of poachers going into those national park. So apart from the chimpanzee, you have the red river hog, you have the yellowback duiker, they are all on Schedule 1, yes. Because in Nigeria today, it's only in Cross River that you have chimpanzee and drill. It's only in Cross River. So if care is not taken and we allow people to go in there, if not for the effort of National Park to have what we have there in Cross River, we allow people to just hunt anyhow, which means in some years to come, there will not be drill there again, there will not be gorilla there. And we don't want a situation whereby in some years to come, we want to educate our children, we'll now be telling them once upon a time, there used to be an animal called chimpanzee, there used to be an animal called gorilla. For that kind of thing not to happen, effort must be made now to make sure that we conserve these resources.
I'm not hearing. Come on, stop that.
Willie, bringing the bed down.
Stop that, no, sir. Stop that.
Don't you know we are guests?
Stop it. Oh.
That is why we use in our palace, we say, think globally, act locally. Eating at our own level, we must do something. All and sundry must know that the issue of environment is not about only me, because I'm working in an organization that have to do with environment. It's not all about you, because you are a media, something that center on environment is for all of us. That woman in the village must do something. Otherwise, the little rat that the husband used to bring from farm for her to cook, if care is not taken, that rat will not be there again. The wood that the husband will be bringing as fuel wood, if there is no proper management, time will come when that wood will not be there again. So it's for all and sundry to know that the issue of environment is for all of us. It's for all of us, not for a particular group.
Apart from Gashaka National Park, other conservation efforts are on to save other wildlife in Nigeria.
It is one of the last remaining rainforests in Nigeria. Rainforest is a special environment. It is a great place to stay overnight. We are breeding here drills. Drills are only living here in Cross River State and across the border in Cameroon. It makes it quite unique, and we are breeding them to hope to release them in the nature, because they're declining in nature. The habitat is disappearing, and also they are still hunted, and we hope by breeding them that we can raise the number of wild living drills. This is the most endangered primate in Africa. They are more endangered than gorillas, what is well known as they are endangered, but the drills even more. And the founders of the project, Peter Jenkins and Liza Catsby, took the challenge more than 20 years ago to try to rescue them and to breed them, and very successful over here. And a colleague of mine can tell more about it. We are already at the 5th generation of drills what we are raising, and we hope to release them soon. And it would be great if we succeed in that.
I came here to work with the animals, drills especially, because they're one of the most endangered primates in the world, and I had never seen them before, and this is the best place to see them in the world. One of the problems with drills is people who live in Nigeria don't realize how special they are, that these animals are only found in Nigeria, Cameroon, and Bioko Island, and there are so few left that people who grew up seeing them in the forest, they don't appreciate how important they are to biodiversity and how rare they really are. So people don't fully understand, and they are still hunted, and nursing mothers can be hunted and their babies sold into the pet trade.
Drills are short-tailed large forest monkeys that can only be found in the rainforest and 3 places in Africa. So you can find them here in Cross River State in Nigeria, Bioko Island in Equatorial Guinea, and in southwest Cameroon.
So what is the importance of keeping them? Some people will say, why are you doing this exercise?
Yeah, the purpose of keeping them is to enable the unborn to born and witness them, and there are very few in the wild to extend their family and then release them back to the wild.
According to experts, the first principle of sustainable living is respect and care for all living things.
All living things created by God, they are created for a purpose, and they have their own usefulness and value. If I feel that chimpanzee is not useful to me, it's not useful. chimpanzee may be useful to something that's useful to me. So to us, of what use is mosquito? That's the way of what use is mosquito. But mosquito has its own value in the ecosystem. In the food chain, mosquito has its own value. When mosquito lay, the larva of mosquito in the pond, the fish feed on it. I feed on fish. So if there's not enough food for the fish will not grow enough for me to eat. So if we go back to our secondary school biology of food chain and food web, so what is not useful to me directly, indirectly is useful to me. So we must respect and care for other community life. Wall gecko, to me, is of no use. But wall gecko is sanitizing our environment. Wall gecko will not allow any small insect to be in your environment. But the moment we see wall gecko, you must kill. Whereas wall gecko is having one important ecological function in your house. Wall gecko will not allow any small insect before you pick. But to us, as we have built a mansion, and for people to know that I'm hygienic, wall gecko must not be in my community. Wall gecko has its own value. Mosquito has its own value. They are all part of wildlife. We must conserve them.
Government, lawmakers, enforcement officers, customs officials, and park rangers, they are all scaling up their efforts to protect wildlife. Experts say it is also up to every citizen, young and old, to protect wildlife and their habitats. We all have a role to play.
We also put together various law enforcement agencies, interagency cooperation between the police, between the Kenya Revenue Authority, the Kenya Wildlife Service, the Kenya Forest Service, and other agencies. We knew very well that we had the challenge of also being a transit country, particularly the port of Mombasa and occasionally the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. So again, we improved our surveillance in those particular areas. We also improved our intelligence, not only nationally, but also regionally and internationally as well. That has shown tremendous results. The level of poaching has gone down because now it's a deterrent. We are also after the major kingpins that we were aware of and have since dealt with them. But we've also been working with our neighbors to not only improve surveillance and intelligence, but also prosecutions. We've worked very closely with our judiciary, because that was also a weak gap, to let them understand that these are economic crimes and that they must enforce the punitive laws that we've put in place. So these are some of the things that we've been doing.
Our collective conservation actions can be the difference between a species surviving or disappearing. Just recently, President Muhammadu Buhari signed the Endangered Species Control of International Trade and Traffic Amendment Act into law. The law was amended to bring the penalty provisions in line with economic realities.
personalities from diverse backgrounds.
We will pick our first 11 this year. You have to catch all the thieves before you deal with the thief you have caught.
They talk to Cyril Stover. One-on-one. Wednesdays, 1:30 p.m. on NTA Network.
Nobody cares about us, right from Nigeria down here, even coming from Nigeria to Dubai, we didn't eat for 3 days.
Sports in Nigeria have been on the decline in recent years, with only a glimpse of successes recorded lately. While we continue to make reference to the 1980s and 1990s as the era of the country's hegemonic status in world sports, how then can we reactivate the bedrock of our success, school and age-grade sports again? Join the parliamentarians as they identify and chart the way forward for the imminent return of the glory days this Thursday at 11 p.m. on the Sports Parliament.
The eyes have it.
NCAE brings you the best of entertainment.
I thought I was being sarcastic.
I want you to do other productions.
Everything music.
Yeah, what's which one you see? If you look at the platform,
Data cost reduction. Minister of Communication extends deadline as NCC intervenes. Plus, FAC disburses 740.87 billion naira in September. And UK economy avoids recession despite weakest growth in decades. Details of this and more on Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, the nation's capital. And I am Benny Adams, your guide. The Federation Account Allocation Committee has disbursed the sum of 740.87 billion naira to the 3 tiers of government in September 2019 from the revenue generated in August 2019. This is according to the National Bureau of Statistics. The amount disbursed comprised of 610.04 billion naira from the statutory account, 20 billion naira from forex equalization account, and 1.754 billion naira from excess bank charges recovered for the month, 88.08 billion naira from value-added tax, and 1 billion naira exchange gain differences. Federal government received a total of 310.97 billion from the 740.87 billion. States received a total of 193.57 billion, and local governments received 146.23 billion. The sum of 48.74 billion was shared among the oil-producing states as 13% derivation fund. Revenue-generating agencies such as Nigeria Customs Service, Federal Inland Revenue Service, and Department of Petroleum Resources received 5.34 billion, 10.99 billion, and 3.644 billion as cost of revenue collections. In the meantime, the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Dr. Isa Pantami, on Saturday extended the deadline given to the Nigeria Communications Commission to reduce the cost of data and stop illegal deductions from subscribers by service providers. The minister had on Tuesday directed the commission to act on the directives within 5 working days. A statement by the minister's spokesperson, Uwa Suleiman, explained that NCC sought the extension of the deadline in a letter forwarded to Pantami on Friday. According to the statement, NCC informed the minister that it had started taking steps to comply with the directive. The statement did not specify the time frame given to the commission to act on the minister's order, but it is stated that the issues would be resolved within the shortest possible time. The NCC intends to impose considerable financial sanctions on operators engaged in illegal deductions. Also, customers are to get refunds in established cases of illegal deductions. Vice President Yemi Osibajo has described the Kajola Wagon Assembly Plant in Ogun State as a historic turning point for the railway revolution ongoing in Nigeria. At the groundbreaking ceremony of Nigeria's first wagon assembly plant, the Vice President reaffirms federal government's commitment in turning the transportation sector in the country.
On prioritizing Nigerians and Nigerian businesses in the innovation, production and procurement of engineering projects and services. We expect that you will move on very quickly to the next phase of this project, which is the assembly and construction of coaches and locomotives.
It's expected that the plant will generate job opportunities for Nigerians and as well facilitate the much desired objective of the government towards the local content capacity development.
The United Kingdom Gross Domestic Product latest data has revealed that the economy has avoided recession despite what has been described as the weakest growth in a decade. This is according to Office of National Statistics. The UK economy expanded by 0.3% in the third quarter of the year. That is a welcome return to growth, following the 0.2% contraction in the second quarter, with annual growth is the weakest since 2010. This indicated growth in the service sector, while stagnation was reported in the manufacturing. Manufacturing failed to grow in quarter 3 of 2019, with falls in many industries almost solely offset by an increase in the manufacturing output of transport equipment. Chinese e-commerce giant Alibaba Group Holdings say on Monday that sales for its annual Singles Day shopping has hit 91.2 billion yuan, translating to $13 billion within the first hour. This is up 32%, up from last year, similar to Black Friday and Cyber Monday in the United States. Singles Day has been promoted as a shopping fest and has since grown, becoming one of the world's biggest online shopping sales event. You are watching Business Express on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. We will take a short break. In the meantime, let's now see how the Naira is exchanging with other international currencies. Farmers in Nigeria will continue to have access to quality and affordable fertilizer following the successes recorded through the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative. Under the initiative, the country is today housing more than 24 fertilizer blending plants, producing and distributing more than 2 million tons of the farming input. Data science today is part of virtually every major industry, and agriculture is no exception. Now with talks about smart farming, value chain, and a host of related issues, understanding the relevance of data and how it affects the agriculture and the Nigerian economy is what Business Express is focusing its searchlights on today. And we have Professor Edwin Idu of Data Africa. Glad to have you on Business Express. Well, to start with, what would you say is the role of data in agriculture, from soil seedlings to preservation as well as the market itself?
Yes, agriculture has evolved from traditional to modern. And then in the last few years, we're talking about precision agriculture, and now we talk about smart agriculture. And in smart agriculture, we are interested in how information and communication technology will be deployed to increase quantity and also enhance quality of agricultural produce. And this is where data is important in smart agriculture. So if we are going to get into smart agriculture in Nigeria, data is a vital resource for us to use in that process, because
does that mean we are not yet employing data to agriculture now? Or if we have, how well have we been able to do it more so that it's a new infusion of technology into the way we do agriculture?
It's not just data. We're talking about smart agriculture. Data has been in use. Data, like I said, is a very vital resource for development. And its use, we collect this data, collect it, analyze it, and it's disseminated for uptakers. And it's have its own value chain today, because there are people that are producing the data. There are people that need to collect and analyze the data and then disseminate. And there are people that need to take this data to use for informed decision. So data is important in that sense, because it's going to bring impact, it's going to help us to carry out informed decision, and it's going to improve the well-being of someone.
Okay, talking about let's go practical, talking about the small farmer. How can he employ this data in the soil he chooses to plant whatever crop he's planting? When will the rains come? If there are pests in the particular farm, how is he going to control this pest? How is data playing in this? Up to the point that he harvests, can he actually project the proceeds at the end of the day? And where is the place of the market too?
Yes. This is the reason many people are not using data, and that is why you say people go into agriculture and they say they have their finger burnt. The reason is that they are not using data because the data will tell you about soil specific. It will tell you about the topography of the land, of the soil that you are going to use. It will also tell you the texture of the soil, the pH, and all that. The data will provide that. And because many people avoided that, they avoided in bringing in experts to determine, for instance, soil fertility, soil profile, the topography of the area, the site specific for some crops. It's not just any crop that would do for, any soil that would do for all the crops. There are crops that, soil that is good for rice production. There are some that are good for cowpea, for soybean, for maize production, for tuber crops. So if the expert do not tell you that, and you just get a hectare of land or 10 hectares of land and you just go plow and you start planting rice, not knowing that that soil is not good for rice production, you are going to get your finger burnt. So data in that sense is important for us to make informed decision in terms of the soil that you need to be irrigated, the soil that you need to apply NPK fertilizer, or you need to apply other form of organic fertilizer or inorganic fertilizer. So it's this data that will tell you to do that. And because many people are avoiding that, they are having a problem. Even when they start going to agribusiness, they always have a challenge.
Okay, talking about avoiding this smart agriculture initiative, I want to believe it is actually cost implicating. It is so much money is involved to get such experts, talking about data analysts to your farm to get to fix all of that. Where is the place of the small farmer? How can the farmer manage some of these technologies at a low cost?
At a very low cost, the farmers have their friends that we call the extension agents. The extension agents are the friends to the farmers. They give information to the farmers. And these extension agents are experts in different fields. We have extension agents that are knowledgeable in soil fertility. There are some that are knowledgeable in crop production, in crop aspects. So they have different experts. They are called subject matter specialists. And these subject matter specialists train the extension agents to go into the rural areas, to meet the small-scale farmers, and to give them information on the kind of soil that will give them maximum profit.
Can you give us an estimation of how much this has been deployed to agribusiness in Nigeria?
In Nigeria, the concept of smart agriculture is still very new, and now because every sector is moving into the information and communication technology, agric is also evolving to that phase. And because of that, the concept of smart agriculture is a new narrative that agriculturists in Nigeria are promoting for even young, small-scale farmers to key in.
Okay, we hear about data marketing. What's that concept about, and how does it go to help farmers, as it were?
Yeah, data is in recent time, in fact, data have been described as a new oil because data flows through we have the whole value chain of data today. We talk of data production, data preservation, data warehousing, data marketing, and uptake. Now, in data marketing, we have two forms. We are talking of, if you are talking of data marketing directly, you are talking of production and selling of the data. There are organizations, big organizations that produce data, and this because they use high tech to produce this data, they have to do a kind of internal IGR from the sale of the data. For instance, NIMET produce data. We have the Nigeria Communications Satellite Limited, with the NICOMSAT producing data. We have NASDA. Now, all these agencies, they produce data, and some of
plus research institute.
Research institute, of course, at the universities and the institutes, and we also have in Nigeria. We also have the National Bureau of Statistics. Now, they produce this data, but some of the agencies, organizations, need to sell this data too, to market this data. But again, we have what we call data-driven marketing. Data-driven marketing is where companies now have to use data in promoting their company, knowing their consumer behavior. That is a different aspect.
Okay, like information gotten from such data, how does it influence insurance, banks, traders, pesticides manufacturers? How does it influence their decision in getting to know where the market should go from?
Yes, because the insurance company, before they they cover your product or your farm, they need to know, they need to get this data from you, because it is based on that data that they can give you cover. Banks also, for them to give you loan, they need data on your farm. They need data of your hectarage, the type of variety of rice that you are using, and they want to know because they know they have yielding varieties. So banks and insurance company need data before the insurance can give you cover. The bank need this data from the farmer, especially big-time farmers, before they can give them credit facilities. So it's a synergy, and that is why we talk of data value chain. The data itself, it has value. And it is the value these companies, these banks and insurance place on the data you make available to them, that they can give you opportunity to access the insurance or the facilities.
Okay, how can all of this put together help in attaining food sufficiency?
Yes, because we need to know what happened in the years down the line, 5 years, 10 years, so that we can make projection. It's because you have to assess your data bank and get what